The colon function, found in the built-ins, the Functions tab, and the Container folder, stands for Container Align, and you can use this to align a line of text or font to other primitives within your scene. So to set this up, let's grab a couple of primitives here and drag it down into the scene tree. How about we'll use a sphere, and maybe we'll also use a rectangle here. I'm just going to scale down the sphere and move it to the left-hand side. And the rectangle, we're going to move this to the right as well, and we're also going to throw some type of image on here. How about just a random headshot here? Now I'm going to grab a font, so I'm going to go into my Server tab, my F tab, and into my Font folder, drag a font down. Now when we drag it down, it doesn't align it, so we can use this Container Align or colon function to align our font to these two containers. So I'm going to drag it down onto my font, and I'm going to click on my colon icon to go into the colon editor. First thing that we have here is container 1 left and a container 2 right, and there's two blank boxes, which means when you see this that it's waiting for some type of container. So my container left, I'm going to drag my sphere into that container, and my container right, I'm going to drag my rectangle into that one. And you can see how the font automatically shifted. Now it's not aligned perfectly, and if we come back into the transform axis and we try to move this on the X or the Y, it's not going to allow us to do that because it is now aligned by these two other primitives that we're using. So within the colon function, what we can use is this H offset percentage, so we can adjust this left or right to where we want it, and we can also have a V offset for the vertical offset, so we can place this where we want it. There's also a Z offset as well. We can use this to place it where we want on the Z plane. Now there's a line container rotation, which is off by default. We can change this to 2D or 3D. So if we have some animation or movement from these two primitives, it will follow this font. Right now, if we come back into our sphere and we move it, you can see that this text container will follow this sphere wherever we move it. So when I move it back or forward in Z space, you can see how the font now stays aligned to this imaginary plane or imaginary line that it's connected to between these two primitives. We have an auto scale object, which is off by default. We turn that on, and it will now scale this font based between these two primitives. We also have a scaling value when we turn that on, so we can scale this down or up if need be.